I was imagining, are these things possible? How come I don't know about these things? How come no one has taught me these things?
Okay, we are live again. So once again, due to technical error, we have just lost our session, right, with Mr. Uzoma. But right now, we are glad that our technicals are solved and we are back to the interview with Mr. Uzoma. I think the audio is even better now.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, just now we stopped on the two questions. How do you develop faith? And how do we go from being a selfish person to a selfless person? What do you say, Mr. Uzoma?
Well, thank God I'm back.
Welcome back.
Developing faith. Like I said, I like taking my basis from the reference from that ancient book that I described earlier. In that ancient book, it states that faith comes by hearing, and hearing the ways, the principles, the guiding rules stated in the book. So one of the ways to build our faith is to constantly going into this ancient book to have a glimpse of the rules that guides life. However, it depends on the area one wants to build his faith, because in that ancient book, everything about life, it have all the departments of life scripted in the ancient book. Is it management? Is it how to overcome in times of crisis? Is it how to succeed in business? Is it psychology? Is it even chemistry, physics, and all of them have their roots from that ancient book. So, by reading the ancient book, you develop faith by having knowledge. You know, one of the things I have learned over time that helped me to build my faith is knowledge. Preparing. When you prepare, challenges don't meet you suddenly. Do you understand? So when you prepare, issues don't overtake you unawares. And how do you prepare? By having knowledge. How do you have knowledge? You go to seek knowledge. You seek knowledge. And where do you seek knowledge? You seek knowledge from their sources. So when you seek knowledge from its source, then you have the original guiding rules, the original principles that makes things happen in that particular area. So when something suddenly happens, because you know what to do, then you don't have to fear. That is one of the ways to dissipate fears, to dispel fears in times of crisis like this. Secondly, You ask, how do we move from being selfish to being selfless? The nature of the author of that book is selfless. Everything about the author of the book is selfless. And his ways that he was trying to show us in that book is selfless. In one of the portions of the book, the ancient book that I'm describing, he said, "For I am love." He is love. He is love. So if we can learn his ways, then we will become selfless automatically. We will become selfless automatically because his relation with us is all about love. His relation with us is all about love. Until people begin to understand the concept of love, I have come to realize, by the virtue of knowledge and by the virtue of experience, these two things combined together, I have come to understand that the concept of wealth creation, is deeply rooted in love. And the reason why most people are selfish is because they don't understand the concepts, these two. So they think by being selfish, by acquiring all things, they become wealthy. No. When you share love, you are actually, take, for instance, the people that are worthy. Let me share a story of an Australian businessman who have a story I had some time ago. I read through the internet. He's an Australian wealthy businessman. He has a company. He has workers in his company. So a time came at the end of the year. So this boss of a man, the owner of the company, did something so striking. What did he do? When the year ended and the workers are going on holidays, he secretly deposited in all their accounts some huge amount of money. And when the workers saw what their boss did, it has ignited some element of joy in them. It has given them some element of hope and confidence. So what do you think will happen when they return back to work? They will give man the best of themselves. And when they bring out their best, the organization grows. And that is it. But because we human wants to accumulate, and don't want to give. And in that book, he said, give. That book, the book I'm talking about, the ancient book, he said, give. And when we give, it will be given back to us in good measure, pressed down, shaking together, and running over. So things we give is things that return to us in good measures, in large measures. They return to us sometimes immeasurably. So, but we must be able to give. It's like the concept of seed time and harvest. What you sow is what you will reap. But first, we must be able to sow something. It's like when we sow health, we will definitely reap health. When we sow love, we reap love. Whatever we sow is what we will reap. So people should, in our world today, begin to sow the seed of love. Because when they sow that seed of love, they will get the fruits of love in abundance. Because every seed you sow will actually grow. And when it grows, what happens? It will bear fruits. And those fruits sometimes is for consumption, it's also for planting. And things keep growing and growing and growing. And that is it. So if we want to grow, especially in that area, we need to sow that seed of love. It's very important. Very, very important. Very, 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 very. Thank you.
Okay, once again, great insights from Mr. Uzoma. I mean, it's very relevant because I think most of the time people have a hard time understanding how does giving and loving, all these very noble pursuits, very noble attitudes and values, people have been wondering, how is it practical? I mean, that's the reason why people are suspicious. People are wondering, does it really apply in our day-to-day life? But as we go on over the years, people are beginning to see, for example, in many businesses, right? Today, I read about a famous photographer in Malaysia. He talked about how most business owners, they are very transactional. Like, if you pay for this, I only give you this much. I'm going to be like really calculative and stuff like that. But at the same time, when we compare to business owners and entrepreneurs who are more relational, they are willing to invest value upfront, they are willing to add value. They will actually ask how their clients are doing, instead of only when they need something, they go and find them. Yeah. And the crazy thing about this new economy is that it actually rewards such behavior.
Yes.
Because we are flooded with all these options, and our clients are looking for people that are really care for them, that are really adding value all the time, that are building a community, that are building a relationship with them. Perhaps I think that's the beauty of giving. Yes. People have this idea, right, Mr. Uzoma? They felt like giving is only about giving money. But when we talk about giving, there are a lot of variety, you know. If you don't have the money, give the time, right? Give the thoughts, give the care, you know, give the support. And if your friends start a business, share the page, like the page.
Yes.
It costs so little, but people don't quite get it, right? Perhaps you can share a bit from your own life. How does this power of giving, when do you realize this? When do you truly believe okay, this is a real thing, you know? I should give in faith that better things are to come.
Yeah.
When does that happen for you, Mr. Uzo?
Well, you know, my life has been a process. And like I said, there is this saying that goes that knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Even though most often I try to contest the saying, it's good to acquire knowledge, but sometimes it's not the acquisition of knowledge that is power, it's the application of the knowledge. that is actually the power. Over time, I have learned what giving is all about. But the most striking time I get to realize the concept of giving and what giving is, I would say precisely is in 2016, 2015, 2005, when God gave me the vision of my product to deliver to humanity, which is through Potential Builders International. Then I realized that for me to fulfill this vision, I need people. And the only way to have that people is through love. When I open the window of love that will shine through my life and let people know that there is caring inside. How I realized for me to make the most out of that product which God has given me through Potential Builders, that I need people, and the roadmap to have these people is through love. And how? By investing in people. It's people you invest into that will return invest into you. So first, I needed to, when I got to know about this, so I have friends. And the best I can do with the friends I have then is to start investing in their life. Investing. Genuine investment. Not investment, like you said, that is transactional, that you want to get something. You know, one thing is that people must see that the love or what you are trying to give is genuine. It comes genuinely out of you. But when they see that it's transactional, you just want to give in order to get something in return, you know, you may actually not get the maximum productivity of that investment. And secondly, like what you rightly said, giving is not all about giving money. Giving is broad. You must be able to give your time, your energy, your resources, everything. And actually, like I said, the concept of wealth creation is about giving. It is all about giving. Wealth creation is all about giving. It is what we give to humanity that comes back to us as wealth. What we give out to humanity. And the good part of it is that everyone, virtually everyone, let me speak like a motivational speaker now, virtually every one of us have something to give. Every one of us has a unique product to deliver to humanity. And that unique product we need to deliver, because most of us are not delivering the product. That's why they are not, actually seeing something in return. Let's take, for instance, now, when we look at the Forbes richest people in the world, see all of them, they are giving something to humanity. Mark Zuckerberg now gave humanity something. And most times you see that what they are giving to humanity is born out of pure love. Probably they saw a problem and they tried to solve that problem. They tried to give what they have in solving that problem, and in solving that problem for humanity, they, in return, while humanity try to benefit from that problem that they are solving, then they come with their resources. They come with the things they have, and that thing they come with is what sometimes comes to us as wealth. That's why he said, give, and it shall be given back to you. You must first give before you will have something in return. We must first give. We must first give. Very important, very paramount in life. Everyone. If we actually wants to grow, if we actually wants to, be a worthy person in life, then be ready to give something. Be able to give something. Sometimes you don't need to. I remember when I wrote my first book, which is Questioning Pathway to Success. I have nothing, Even the money I use in writing that book at that early stage in my life was almost the first money I have gotten in my life. But I invested the money in the book. At the end of the day, that book is not that I can't sell the book, but I was sharing the book. I was giving to schools, I was giving to people, I was giving it to some to organizations. Why? I was trying to invest something in people's life. Why? Because I saw that as my product. Because those books I wrote, the message in them, my first and my second book, the message in them, when you read them, you will see that somehow they are unique. Even today, I go through the books often. I read them. I still learn from those books today. Sometimes you will see that the message in them are unique. It's not something that is universal. I have come to that is my product to humanity. That is something I need to give to humanity. So when I deliver them, what I have in return is wealth. And that is the way it is. And until we begin to understand that concept of wealth creation, the concept of giving and taking, which I said earlier, is when we understand the seed time and harvest, then we will know that we must give. We must give love. We must give our time. We must give our energy. We must give our resources. We must give our product. We must give our knowledge. So when we start giving those things, the wealth that comes from them may not be instant. They gradually grow. And when they grow, they keep growing, they keep growing, they keep growing, they keep growing. And before you know it, you become one of the wealthiest people in the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Uzoma. I think we really hammer down on why giving is so practical. In a world where everyone is trying to go for the short-term gains, and they are so fearful of putting a step forward to invest in their community, to invest in their skills, to invest in people. I think it's very important for our viewers who are watching this to really follow what Mr. Uzoma is saying, right? Like sometimes you might not see the whole staircase, but the first step, and from the examples that are being given, you can see that in order to do anything that is meaningful, that is impactful, is directly proportional to how much you invest.
Yes.
And that, therefore, how much you gain, right, Mr. Uzoma?
Yes.
It's so practical. We just wonder why not more people are into it. I think we have this question from our audience. Just want to let you know that Theo, we are seeing your question. So the question is, may I know what are the names of your books?
One is Questioning pathway to success. 2 is foundation for greatness. The 3, which is not yet published, but I have already finished writing it, is psychology of success. The psychology of success. Then another one is success mentality.
Oh, there is another one.
Yeah,
Or,
published.
okay, understood. So questioning pathway to success.
Yes.
Foundation to greatness.
Yeah.
And there is not published yet is the success mentality and
psychology of success.
Of success. Great, great. So when can we expect to see your 2 new books?
Probably one may be coming by the end of this year. Although I'm writing another book entirely, which is going to be is not an inspirational book. It's a novel. I'm writing it in kind of a novel, kind of will I say fiction, but actually it's about the story of my life from birth to my place of birth, the schools I went to, the things I experienced in life, how they have formed the person I am today. So it's going to be an interesting book, because I'm just taking it away to be interesting. I have started. Probably it's going to be 2 years now. It's not something that I want to through and bring out. It's something that I want to take time to write, because one of the reasons I'm writing the book is not only to tell the people about the story of my life somehow. I also intend to write a book that will compete favorably, with the best books in the world. So I intend to use that novel to achieve that end.
So it's going to be like an autobiography of sorts?
Kind of, but it's going to be in a novel.
Interesting. There is like the life, it's like the life story of yours so far.
Yes.
That would be a good one. Okay, so to move on, right, just to give a perspective for those who just joined us on our second stream. Our first stream was being cut off, but all these technical errors cannot stop a good message from coming. So what we have talked about so far is what brings us in this state of affairs this year, all this crisis, what brought us here, and then we talk about the dangers of fear. We talk about building faith. We talk about how we can transit from being selfish to selfless, and we talk about the power of giving, investing in people, and the last one that we just talked about are the books of Mr. Uzoma. Okay, so to go forward, do you have a particular mentor or books or materials or leader that you look up to in your journey so far?
Of course.
You find yourself keep on referring back to them?
Yes. Actually, it's very important that we have mentors in our life, because they have a way of shaping us and guiding us. And I have mentors so far that I look onto, majorly some known and some unknown, that are their prodigy. And one of the people that have already inspired me so much in life, especially in the early days of my life, is somebody I so much and I keep looking onto, You know, most of you may not know it. They may not know them. So one of them is Fela Durotoye, and I still have another person, which is David Oyedebo. And I have several other people that I look onto. But before I started looking onto these people, I want to share a bit of my story in life. A time came, that was after I left high school. I went to seminary school, and I thank God for going to seminary school because it had a way of giving me the required foundation in life. So, but when I came out of seminary school, I was preparing to take O-level exam then. So in my country, I came from Nigeria, so I was from the eastern part of the Nigeria. So I was preparing for that exam then, but the place I supposed to take the exam was in the north because my brothers, they were living in the northern part of the country. So when the time for the exam came, so I have to travel from the east to the north. So when I got to the north, I was preparing, and during the exam, I took the exam and stuff like that. But my elder brother had these two books. He had books that he was reading. So suddenly, I picked one of the books to read. The first book I picked to read from the books he had was Psychology of Winning. Psychology of Winning by Dennis Waitley.
Yes, so, yes, the book.
When I read that book, the book changed something in me. I was seeing some things that I'm not used to. I was imagining, are these things possible? How come I don't know about these things? How come no one has taught me these things? So they were like, you know, when you have a computer that is corrupted and it needed to be formatted. So that book is like the software that was used to format my life then, because it entirely changed my way of seeing things, my pattern of thoughts, my fundamental philosophies of life, everything. So immediately I finished reading the book, there was another book. Immediately I picked that book, which is Tough Time Never Lasts, but Tough People Do, by Robert S. Shuley.
Yes.
By Robert S. Shuley. These two books, today, I can't keep talking about these two books because they changed my life entirely. That was, I would say that moment was a new beginning. It sets a new beginning. So I know that I can live a life of meaning. I know that I can be successful in life. I know that I can compete favorably in this world without any fear of where I'm coming from, or because those days I was like, I see myself as I can't be able to do most things. But those books changed that mentality. When we went off before, when we disconnected, I saw you sharing a story of your life and stuff like that. It's similar to mine because at time I think I'm worthless. I can't fit in the society. I can't do something meaningful. I see myself as people, as someone who will always be at the back and not at the front. But those books changed my mentality. And since then, I'm grateful I came across those books. And in most of the books I have written, I made mention of them, and they are of great impact. And I'm grateful and I'm thankful that I had them there.
It's true that we all have turning points in our life. Sometimes it's a book, sometimes it's a quote, sometimes it's a person we meet, and they just set us in a direction that is totally from what we expect before.
Yes.
So I guess those are the two books that did it for you, which is crazy because I've chanced upon the same, a different book, of course, but that have a lasting impression for many years back in the formative years. I was actually skipping my tuition to go to the bookstore downstairs, and then I chanced upon this book, right? This book is called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, he's supposed to have interviewed probably 500 of the wealthiest people at that time of his life. He's a journalist, and he compiled the findings into this one book, Think and Grow Rich. I mean, it's a very tacky, wacky title, but then the content is solid. It's about the mindset. It's about developing specialized skill. It's about how to connect with people. I mean, all these things are not being taught at schools. All these things are not being taught by us from our friends or parents. So yeah, that's like great spark that started a lot of stuff. So before we come to an end, right now a lot of business are closing down. They can't survive, without the cash flow, and jobs are cutting, pay are cutting. Where do you see we all will be after this lockdown, after this pandemic? How will the world be different? And as a pastor yourself, how will the church be different? What do you say?
Okay, thank you. One thing people need to understand, especially this time, is that no matter how we try, the world will not be the same. The world will not be the same again. So we need to know that. And people, like I said earlier, is that people need to come to that understanding that things are changing and times are also changing. And for you to actually succeed in the changing time, then you need to acquire the relevant knowledge that will make you to succeed. We need to acquire the relevant knowledge that will make us to succeed. It's very, very important. And people need to go back to this basic fact. And I would like to share this story. I have an uncle who was actually very rich. He was in a business. He was in this particular business of motor parts then, which was a Range Rover motor parts, and that was the engine then, and the business was moving, and all those people who were dealing that business then, they were very rich. But time was changing. People were no longer, buying that kind of cars as of that time. People were moving from that to another. There came another evolution of time, which was Peugeot, and that was Toyota, not Santana. There was a car they called Santana then and stuff like that. So people were moving into it and stuff like that. But this, my uncle, because they have this kind of mentality, this is what I was doing, this is the way it is, and that is the way it ought to be. They stayed there. But people that moved, they keep excelling. But all of them that didn't move, thinking that, no, things will return to normal, things will come back to normal, when they were there and others left them. So they were left behind, and before they know it, they had nothing again. They had no business to do and all those things. So these days, they were even going to the people who they taught business, to even sport with them. So that is the same thing that is about to happen now. And people didn't know. It may interest you to know that in this season that people say crisis is happening, people are actually making billions of dollars. People are making millions of dollars. And most people are just sitting at home and thinking, we are in crisis. But people who are already thinking, are actually thinking, how do we survive in this crisis? What do we do? So we need to understand that now, because I have come to realize that in every crisis, it has an advantage. There is an advantage of every crisis. So when we seek for that advantage, it places us on a cutting edge. And when we have that advantage at our beck and call, others comes to us. So, and when others comes to us, they are coming to seek for what we have. And by giving them what we have, we grow. So, and how? Like, I keep defining education as having the information that others don't have. Some education does not necessarily mean going to school. Thank God for school today because it opens us up to education. But it does not stop there. To me, education is practically having the information that others don't have. When you have the information that others don't have, it places you ahead of them. So the people will come to seek for your knowledge. They will come to seek for what you know. They will come to seek for what you have. And that thing you know that they don't know is wealth. That thing you know that they don't know is money. So what most of us should do this time around is to go and learn more. How do we succeed and how do we survive in this changing time? Because time has already changed. We are in another different time now. We are in another different time now. So, but we need to understand, how do we excel? How do we prosper? How do we succeed in this time? Practically everything is moving from the way we do it to another way of life. And one author put it this way: to put the usual into the unusual. To put the usual into the unusual. So people should know how, because we are in the unusual time. So how do we put the usual way of doing things into this unusual time we are now? So perhaps now, before we do interviews, I come, I meet you and all those things. Now it has changed. You are there and I'm here and we are doing the interview. Things are changing. So the same way in business, things are changing. Business is not going to remain the same. The word of our business, the word of our work has changed permanently, and that is the truth. Even when you think you are going back to your work, and when you get there, you realize that the way you travel before is not the way you are going to travel right now and all those things, and it will make you to sit down to focus how to reshape and how to begin to do a new thing. So it has a way of bringing us to focus, to get focused and know that, we are going to do them most of this season. But most importantly, we need to know and learn. Knowledge is power. So it is what we acquire and what we learn that we are going to apply to succeed in this season.
Once again, I love the anecdotes and especially the story about your uncle, right? Yeah. There is always two groups of people, right? Maybe three, There is one group of people that would like to stay the old way, thinking that it's the way that it has always been and it will always be. They stay put. And there is another group, like you say, millionaires are being made at the moment. At every time in our history, whether it's good times, bad times, there are always people that profit from it. Because what simply happens is a transfer of wealth from people that not take action to people that take action. So we have people that remain, people that take action, and they are those people who just watch by the sidelines, right? They are being grappled with fear. They are just frozen. So I think the value of our sharing for today is for our viewers that are watching this, they are following us despite the technical issues. We are on and off the camera, but you're still with us. We'd like to thank you. I think it's probably a total of over an hour now. You got to decide for yourself. Are you just going to stay at the old way, or are you going to take action, or are you just going to watch by the sidelines? Because time awaits for nobody.
Yes.
If not now, then when? If not you, then who? Right? That's always been the question. To sum it up, I think our viewers would like to know if they would like to get connected to you, Mr. Uzoma. How can they do so? How can they support? And do you have any final words for our viewers for today?
One, I'll say that desperate times deserves desperate measures. That's number one. Number two, those who go extra miles usually have extra results. There's something that makes ordinary. We have ordinary, you have extraordinary. What makes the extraordinary is the extra that is in the ordinary. So people who go extra miles, who do extra things, like in this time we are, people need to be flexible. You don't have to be rigid. You don't have to stay where you are. You need to know that time have already changed. Like I told you, I have some friends. They have a team, and they were just doing some amazing things online. And these days things are happening and online, and people are taking advantage. People who has gone ahead, who is already seeing that things are not usually the old ways it is, and all those things. You have people now who they are not moving, but they are seeking for things. They are searching for things, but they don't know how to find them. Some people have already positioned themselves to help them find things that they are not seeing. So I have some group of friends right now. They are even signing a contract that's worth almost $11 billion. Not ringgit, neither is in naira. They are signing a contract now that's worth $11 billion. And if I tell you what they are going to earn out of that contract, you will be amazed. That is the time we are in. So another thing is positioning. People need to know how to position. All right. And And for you to position well, then you need to have knowledge. You need to have knowledge. So the concept of positioning, and when you position well, you need that, the good thing about this season now is that if we can see well, we will realize that now we don't even necessarily need huge capital to start business. We don't even need huge capital to start anything. All we need is, if you have your phone, you are connected online, just position very well, and things that you don't even expect will come seeking for you. We come seeking for you. And when you solve that problem practically, you know that you are not going to be left behind in this season. So people need to grow themselves. People need to seek knowledge. People need to be flexible. People need to go extra mile. People need to know actually that, that business has already moved from the usual way to an unusual way. So they need to put the usual into the unusual in order to succeed this season. Thank you. Actually, you asked me before, you asked me about the future of the church. I think I will close with this. When people, I would say that virtually everything in our world today is under attack. Is under attack, whether business, whether church, and all stuff like that. But one thing is sure, like I keep referring us to that ancient book, he said that he that endureth until the end, the same shall be saved. He that endureth, anyone that endures until the end, the same person shall be saved. So the church, businesses, or other things have a brighter future now. I think now we have a better advantage to grow. We have a better advantage to spread our message. We have a better advantage to do whatever we want to do without any hindrance, without any obstacles, without much hassle in life. And is a huge advantage, which probably might be inhibiting most before, but this time has already given us that opportunity to go and sell, to do things we couldn't do before. So it's a huge opportunity. I don't think people should just sit where they are and start mourning the time. It's not time to grow, actually. It's time to grow. And anyone who takes the advantage will definitely grow. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Uzoma. And it's time to grow is very true. And I would like to say that just like what Mr. Uzoma has stressed, right? In every adversity is hidden the seed of equivalent blessing. And it's crazy that people are missing out on these great opportunities of our times. I mean, the ability to reach out to so many people because of this lockdown, because they're all available, because they're all at home, using softwares and apps like this one. The number of people that I'm able to reach for the past 2 months has been greater than what I've been able to do for the past 2 years. You see? We don't realize that, right? It's crazy. And all this at the click of our finger, at the convenience of our home, our laptop, our phone, and we can do deals. We can start businesses. We can start to connect people. So with this, once again, the President of Potential Builders International, Mr. Victor Uzoma, thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
It's a great conversation. We'll probably have you back after a couple of months.
Thank you.
Check out on you. Yes. So with this, God bless, and to all of our viewers, thank you and have a good night.